for influencing the entire world rather than a specific region or country. The thing is global because it is covering, it is encompassing the whole world rather than a specific region or country. And the moment I said the whole world, someone will say, hey, from Isikabo, how can I influence the whole world from Isikabo? And so just to answer your question that you're asking in your head, I just went to my podcast service and just copied the percentage of countries that, the top countries that listen to my podcast. And this was the result I picked some time ago. And I realized that the top 10 countries at that time were Ghana, United States, United Kingdom, Japan, Ukraine, China, Germany, Denmark, Canada, Ivory Coast, Sweden, United Arab Emirates. As I went on, I began to encounter Saudi Arabia, Russia. I said, why have I gone there? But somebody inside Russia, somebody inside Saudi Arabia is listening to me every day. Isn't that powerful? That is what I mean by global. Influencing people beyond beyond. It's encompassing the entire world rather than just a small location. Is that okay? Wonderful. Now, when we say transgenerational, it means that what you are doing is achieving sustainable success beyond or across multiple generations. For the purpose of our discussion, you can call a generation 30 years. So when something outlives a 30-year period, we can say that it's outlived one generation. A generation is typically the time from when a person is born till they also start having their own children, and then their children too can grow and they also have their own children. That's one more generation. So basically, when you build an entity that I'm sure to be a far higher statistic, not surviving the first 1 year. Which means that businesses failing is not news, it's not shocking. But it does not also mean that you should expect to fail. The bigger question is, how many businesses prepare not to fail? How many businesses know what is even making them fail, just so they can do the right thing in order not to fail? Let's go to the first mandate that God gave the world when He created the earth in Genesis chapter 1 and verse 28. Our mandate as believers. In the book of Genesis, the chapter 1 and the verse 28, God gave a mandate and God blessed them and God said to them, be fruitful and multiply and fill the earth and subdue it and have dominion over the fish of the sea and over the birds of the heavens and over every living thing that moves on the earth. God gave man a mandate, or God gave humanity a mandate to be fruitful, multiply, replenish the earth, subdue it, and have dominion. It's a divine mandate. And it doesn't mean have plenty children. In case you are thinking that's what it was. Be fruitful. Whatever is in your hands, be fruitful with it. Create concepts, ideas, solutions, and then multiply from 1 let it become 2 and 10 and 20. Supply the earth, distribution systems or mechanisms. Supply. What shall it profit a woman if she can create mining solutions and not supply them to the mining companies? So create the distribution network. Subdue it means understand the workings and take control. And have dominion is to rule and to reign. And we'll go into this in a bit more detail in terms of the expression. So that's my first scriptural foundation. The second one is Proverbs 13, verse 22. A good person, a good man, a good woman leaves an inheritance to his or her children's children, but the wealth of the sinner is laid up for the righteous. In part 1 of this verse, it says, anyone who is good must lay up an inheritance for their children's children. It means that if you live your life and your whole focus is your personal comfort, and you have not paused to think that the quality of life you have must positively influence that of generations after you, then you are not only selfish and short-sighted, but you are the opposite of good, and that means you are. I'm glad you said it yourself, or I felt bad if I said it. What the Bible is simply saying is that a good person, if you are good, you should think about it. How many of you agree that your children are going to better schools than you went to, or having a better quality of life than you have? How many of you agree? When I look at the food they eat, the clothes they are wearing, the school they are going to, and the kind of life they have, I say, hey, what would a great if you had that life by now? Look, I'm telling you something. Everyone is trying hard. That is why, let's face it. Sometimes if you look at your salary, you shouldn't be taking your children to the school you take them. But nobody wants their child to go to some school that it will not guarantee them success. And so you want the quality of education that you think will at least give them a head start. So you don't even consider your salary, you are pushing. Am I talking to somebody? A good person leaves an inheritance to your children's children. So in building your organization, your career, your business entity, your mindset must be that my life must give an advantage not just to my children, but to my children's children. I mentioned yesterday that some reputations have equity in them. When you mention your name, they will say, are you related to this person? And just by that connection, doors can open to you. Nobody has come to say, I am called Albert Hitler. Nobody will even name their child that. Because just by the mention of Hitler, people will start thinking, are you a wicked person? Exactly. So, a good person leaves an inheritance to their children's children. Now, if our mandate is dominion and our mandate is legacy, inheritance, heritage, the big question, do you have the appetite? Because don't forget that there are people in the Bible who did not have the appetite for anything transgeneration. Examples abound in the scriptures of who said, listen, let me think of myself, my children can think of themselves. Several examples abound. But the Bible says a good person leaves an inheritance to their children's children. When you are making decisions concerning your career, your children, your business, do you think about the children? Do you think about your children's children? Do you have the appetite? Let's go to the scriptures and show you that it's not guaranteed that because you have an opportunity, you will choose long term. So let's go to the book book of 2 Kings, chapter 13. Your appetite will determine the reach and the longevity of the movement. 2 Kings 13. And let's read from verse 14 to verse 19. 2 Kings 13, verse 14 to verse 19. Now when Elisha had become sick with the illness of which he will die, Joash the king of Israel came down to him and wept before him, crying, my father, the chariots of Israel and his horsemen. Go on to the next verse. And Elisha said, get a bow and some arrows, and he did so. Take the bow in your hands, he said to the king of Israel. And when he had taken it, Elisha put his hands on the king's hands. Verse 17. Open the east window, he said. And he opened it. And then he said, shoot. And he shot. He said, the arrow of the Lord's victory, or the Lord's arrow of victory, and the arrow of victory over Amram or Syria. Elisha declared, you will completely destroy the Syrians at Aphek. That was a prophetic declaration. Yesterday we learned about the place of prophecy, the place of planning, and the place of hard work. We emphasize it again today. So, that is our scripture. Read the next verse. Then he said, take the arrows. And the king took them. Elisha told him, strike the ground. And he struck the ground 3 times. And suddenly he stopped. Verse 19. The man of God was angry with him. Then he said, you should have struck the ground 5 or 6 times. Then you would have defeated Aram and completely destroyed it. But now you will defeat it only 3 times. This is one of the scriptures that I think about very, very often. I'll tell you why. Now, Syria represents, or Aram represents, a persistent challenge. Now, if you understand the history of Israel at the time, there was a king called Ben-Hadad. Those people were wicked people. And the Syrians were dominating Israel. They were just like in the time of David and Saul, the Philistines were their major opponents. At that time, the Syrians were in charge. And the Syrians can come and defeat you, and then they'll come and defeat you again. So it's like, which problem cry is it that you can never solve? Some of you in your business, the same problems keep recurring over and over and over. A friend of mine has a massive fast-moving consumer goods business. And every time we hear the staff has stolen his money, what's that? The same problem keeps, you can sack all the staff, bring you once, and the same thing appears again. Syria is a recurrent problem. Every time you get an opportunity and the capital is not enough, and you lose it. Every time you go for a bid, you go to the final selection and then you lose it. A recurrent problem. Bible says that Syria was the problem. So, Bible says that Elisha fell sick with the illness of which he would die. King Joash, the king of Israel, came and fell on Elisha crying. Why was he crying? Even when you are alive, people are giving us problems. You are my spiritual father. Now you are about to die. I'm going to die again first. So he was crying and saying, my father, my father. Yesterday I told you that when you come crying, God doesn't cry. So the moment Joash came crying, Elisha turned to him and said, what do you have in your hands? Take the bow. Just like when Moses was standing before God and crying, God said, what do you have in your hands? God is not a crying God. When you are crying, God is saying, what do you have? What can we use? Solution orientation, what can we use? He said, take a bow. What does it mean? You have a weapon. Some of you here, your weapon is a talent that you have. Some of you, your weapon is your ideas. Some of you, your weapon is your technologies. Some of you, your weapon is your language. You know how to talk. Some of you, your weapon is your contacts. You know people. Everybody has a weapon. Does somebody have a weapon? The most miserable people in life are those who don't know their weapons. You have a weapon, you don't even know it. So somebody else will take advantage of you. Do you understand? So he said, take your bow and take an arrow. And when he did so, he said, open the east window. What is the east window? It's funny that when the king took the bow, I'm sure the king was saying in his mind, this thing asked me to do it. Listen, we have tried it, we have gone for it, we have tried this, it didn't work. Every time it's still as hard things again, you are thinking of the recurrent problem. He said, take your weapon. Now watch what he did. The Bible said the moment the king took the weapon, Elisha put his hands on the king's hand. Have you seen it? You know what it means? It's called divine imposition. Friends, the reason why when we are Christians, we have an advantage in business is that we are not just physical people, we are also spiritual people. So you take an ordinary talent. I'm not the most talented person in my field. I know it. But I know that the little that I have has been submitted to God, and He has superimposed His divine hand on it. The reason you are able to break through in different places is that the little God has put in your hands. He has blessed it, and God blessed them, and God blessed them and said, "Be fruitful." So when Elisha put his hand on Joash's hand, he was saying that your weapon in your hands may look small, but the grace of God on that weapon can make it big. So he put his hand on his hand. Then he said, open the east window. He didn't say the west, the south, or the north. Opening the east window for him was symbolic because the sun rises in what? In the east. Opening the east window was a signal that the past may have been troublesome, the whole night may have looked uncertain, but it is a new season, it is a new day, the sun is rising again. I came to assure somebody who has gone through a difficult moment, a difficult patch in your life, you have tried your business and it's not working, you are seeing that challenge all around me is difficulty. I came to announce to you that it's a new season and it's a new day. The same thing you did and it didn't work, you will do it again and it will succeed in Jesus' name. That is the role of the prophetic. A declaration that a new window has opened. That's it. I am contextualizing the role of spiritual declaration so you don't mystify it. Because I didn't do any gimmicks. When I prophesied right now, you didn't do it. Because if I close my eyes and said, on the third row, fourth row, seventh person, he said, you believe it. Because my eye was open and I didn't do anything, you don't believe it. But I hereby prophesy once again that to anyone struggling with the business caught up in stagnation, I announce by the mandate of Jehovah that it is a new season and a new day. Yeah. Hallelujah. Yeah. Significantly, he said, open the east window. And then when he opened, he said, shoot. And the king shot. Then he explained. This is where it gets very interesting, Pastor. He explained that this is not the same arrow you've been shooting in the past. This arrow is a symbolic arrow because it's the arrow of the Lord's deliverance. And by shooting this arrow, it's a signal that God is about to defeat Syria. What is Syria? The same problem you have been battling with for years in your business. God is about to defeat it. He said, shoot. And the moment he shot, he said, watch this arrow. It's different. If somebody tells you that this season is significant, if you are about to go into a contest and somebody says, this match you are about to play, this bid you are about to submit, this engagement you are about to make is different from all the others. You may have failed in the past, but this is your defining moment that will break through for you for the rest of your life. You will take it serious, won't you? Yes. He said, this is the arrow that will finally break the back of Syria. I like the highlight. Then having made that foundation, he said, okay, now take an arrow. And then he said, strike the ground. You see, I want to lay the foundation so well so you understand what I said yesterday about anger. Now take the arrow and then strike the ground. If you are not broke and you are not angry and you are not desperate, you will say, okay, I strike too much. You will say, me, I did too much. So you strike. 1, 2, 3. What's it saying? Can you stop? The Bible says Elisha was angry. It's not that God didn't tell you what he was about to do. It's not that you didn't understand the importance of the moment. What explanation do you have that you have struggled for 4 years looking for a job and you have gotten an interview with a multinational company and you are late? What's your excuse? In your defining moment, you have no excuses. So he strikes 1, 2, 3, and stops. And Elisha says, don't you value opportunity? If you were a poor man, broke man, they say this is the opening door. You will strike and say, stop. So you like 3 more, please, I beg you. You keep striking and striking. I don't know if I'm speaking to somebody. Strike. Say strike. It's always stop. This last one. You strike it in. Until you say stop. Keep striking. You see, the reason why Joseph can arrive before Pharaoh after 13 years of hustle and can move straight from prison to prime minister. Bible says they guaranteed him a chariot. That means a brand new car. They guaranteed him a wife. They guaranteed him money. Everything that Joseph did in life, they provided for him after a 10-minute interview. Why? Because read the answer Joseph gave Pharaoh. Yeah. He had prepared. He just asked him the meaning of the dream. It was just a simple question. He said, let me take my time. First of all, the 7 means this. Then the second 7 means this. One will come before the other. There is a reason why this first one is coming first, because you must store the harvest from the first one to meet the second one. This is the percentage you must store, and this is how you must organize it and put somebody in charge. You see, I tell you something. By the time the guy finished, there was nobody in the world that could do that job. He broke it down. There was economics in it, there was agriculture in it, there was actuarial analysis, there was investment analysis, there was governance, politics. The guy loaded the answer. One day, one of my favorite customers, they are giving me business to the tune of about 40% of our income for years. After 10 years, the biggest job they gave me in a year, they called me and said, oh, this year, they are giving it to somebody else. I said, have I done anything wrong? They said, no. Just that, but because of audit and our policy, it's looking like I'm giving the same thing to the same person every year. So just so that the audit shows that others people get a chance. We are giving this job to others that you can get the same ones. I said, so I haven't done anything wrong. He said, no. I said, alright. Then, after prayerfully thinking about it, I said, look, can I help the next person who will get a job? See, that's what they say is madness. Can I help the next person who will get a job? Because this was an international, multinational NGO. And the job was printing of reports that are circulated around the whole world. to different countries around the world. And I was doing the report, not just the printing, the collating, the design. It was a very, very involving, engaging job. I said, I'm happy to let the next person come in class. Just so you don't lose money and make a mistake, I need to prepare the notes for the person. I sat down, went back in my mind 10 years, and began to write down the nuances of the job, the tricky places that I said 4 years ago, this country, because they changed their policy on child rights, instructed that there was no picture of the child on the flyer. That's different from this other country that they like photographic expression. And in this country, their language is different from this country's language. Even the way they write their words. English, but the American English is different from the British English. I give them a very complicated breakdown of what the next person has done. Printed it and submitted it. Somebody will say, how foolish. Your weapons, you are giving it to the enemy. I was there and they called me. He said, you know, it's not every job that every printer. May God give you wisdom. May God give you understanding. By wisdom you will build your house. By understanding you will build. They said to me, you see some jobs, they are specialized jobs. So they wrote on the audit. This is a specialized job, not everyone can do. So let's continue doing it. I say, hey, yes, no. What have I seen? I'm saying that when God opens that window, strike! This is your last chance. Your biggest job is going. Don't stand there casually and say, okay. No. Strike. Do you not understand the window? How can you come on the day it matters most, poorly dressed? How can you come on the day it matters most and sing a song and make a mistake in the song? How? Friends, not all days are the same. There are days that are defining moments in ministry, in business, in career. Not all days are the same. There are days that they are defining moments. That day, if you read the book Snakes and Ladders, that day you step on the base of the ladder and it takes you 7 steps higher in life. In the morning, you are at one level. By that evening, you are 7 levels higher. You can't sleep on the ladder. And next to each ladder is a snake. And if you don't get a snake well, like the lady I spoke about yesterday, you can get to 99, one more step to get to 100, and the snake will bring you down to 7. If you create snakes and ladders, you understand what I'm saying. That snake was very devilish to bring you down to 7. So Elisha was upset at King Joash. But the real interpretation of this for me, in the light of transgenerational business, is on the next slide. My own interpretation of this, the first strike Joash struck was local. First strike, local. Second strike, regional. Third strike, national. Let me explain. Some of your business, the way you think, is only time is editorial. You have fashioned your business with only your locality in mind. If you call your business it's not about local community store, it means that in your mind, you are not even going beyond it's not about them scale. Even the name you register can indicate where your heart is. I'm not saying the local name is wrong, but I'm saying some names cannot take you beyond the locality. Some type of registration is limited in what it can be and what it can do. So the type of business you register shows how much. You can't register a sole proprietorship and operate in a certain kind of space. And there's nothing wrong with sole proprietorship. I'm just saying that everything has what it can do and what it cannot do. So, the first strike, give me the next slide, was local. Please take it. Fantastic. Second strike was regional. Those are the people who say, as for we, the Western people, oh, if the money is in Central or Eastern, why are you so enamored with your Western? Add it on. Design your solution such that while you are feeding the Western, you can also add on the Eastern and the Central and the greater kind of water to the Western North. Add it. You don't need to leave Western to make money outside Western. I showed you from the podcast. But don't be so caught up with your regional identity that your solution has no relevance outside the region. Then the third one is national. Some people, when they design their business concept, it can't go outside them. I told you that in any country of the world, I can operate. Because my solutions, when I was writing my first book, I went to JC White. And I said, Senior, give me one lesson that will help me as an author. He said, don't write your ideas. I said, this is why I am. He said, no, don't write them. And I asked him, what does it mean? He says, write like somebody whose book is being read in America, Britain, Sweden, Australia. So if you read my books, I say, in my home country, Ghana. The same thing you write, they say, we Ghanaians. And Americans say, it's for Ghanaians. I write, in my home country, Ghana. It's just a small shift, but that shift makes the book an international book. So it's free. So, local, regional, national, some people are continental. They will do well until the white man appears. Because once it crosses Africa, hey, no relevance. So, in Elisha to Joash, your first strike local, second strike regional, third strike national. You have caught yourself and locked yourself. You don't even have a passport. How many don't have a passport here? Let's see. A functional, valid, relevant passport. Don't lie. Let me see. Oh, let me see. You don't have a passport. Let me see. You know I'll say shit, but that doesn't matter. Let me see. Okay. 7 of you. How many of you don't have a valid driving license? Let me see that. Okay. So you see, when you come to church and you pray, you know you are lying, but you still pray. Yes, you are lying. One day, the second largest telecom company in this country, held an interview for young graduates. When they arrived for the interview, instead of going to the interview, they took them down to the car park and put a brand new white pickup there. It says, park the pickup and move it to here. If you don't know how to drive, you'll be shaking like this and they say, stand here. If you sit down comfortably, park the car and move it to here, they say, stand here. Separating the sheep from the goats. Before they even climbed up to the interview, they had set aside those who should know they shouldn't bother to talk to you at all. Why? Because you are finished university, you want a driver? No way. Hello. Local, regional, national. Finish. If the thing has any international dimension, you are disqualified. I recall one day when I called one of my managers and said, you've worked so hard. Yes, this conference in South Africa. Listen, even to the same conference, let's go to the holiday. You pay for the whole expense fee. Let's go next week. I'm going to chill somebody come back. He was looking at me with a straight eye. I said, why? You don't want to go. He doesn't have a passport. So when you pray and say, may the Lord open international doors, I will dominate, you dominate it. All of you who have passports, I'm giving you a month. Your application must be in the process. And I prophesy, if you don't do it, the door will open for you, and that door will be shut because you don't have a passport. You will never be that day. Sing to the driver's license. By December 2019, you must have a license. This man, is that what you do? Yes. These are things that you won't find in any textbook, which can lock the door for you in the expert. Somebody say, I hear you. So, national, local, regional, national, continental. But the person who is relevant must be able to say, listen, every country, our children,
every country where the money is, I will build a system that can take some. So he said to him, if you had struck 5 or 6 times, you would have had permanent victory. But now you only have temporary victory. May I suggest to you that if you have a mindset that strikes local, regional, national, and stops, you will have temporary victory. But per the prescription of Elisha, you must be able to strike continental and then add on global anywhere in the world. But the ultimate is to say that I am building this thing so well that even after I die, this thing will still be going. May God give you a global perspective. Amen. May God give you a transgenerational perspective. Amen. It can be in ministry, it can be in career, it can be in business. Something that you are doing must have relevance beyond your life today. Hallelujah. So, how do you build global? And how do you build transnational or transgenerational? In the book of Matthew chapter 7, I won't read it. Jesus gave 2 kinds of builders. The wise man who built his house on the rock, and the foolish man who built his house on the sand. The whole submission of that parable is that in the initial stages, both houses do the same. It is only when the storms came that they show that one was strong and one was weak. And so I'm going to show you the threats to your business being global and transgenerational. After which I'll show you how to build and guarantee longevity in your business. Are you glad you came? Let's start with the threats. There is a law in business called the law of the chain. In leadership, they call it the law of the chain, and they say the chain is as strong as the weakest link. In April 1993, Ghana Black Stars traveled from Accra, Ghana, to Germany, Open, to go and face Germany. At that time, we were watching the match on Ghana television. And in the 69th minute, a young man called Prince Ukun scored against Germany. Then we ran to the streets and said, we will discipline the Germans. And as we ran in the street, somebody said, stop. Why are you running? Why are you shouting goal? But we lost the match. At that time, GTV will write live. But when they called live, the match had finished 2 hours earlier. We couldn't afford live telecast. So the match will be played, and when the match ends, we will start right live. So while we were running the street, somebody said, oh, we lost. We said, keep quiet, we are hitting 1 minute. I won't tell you this story. And you all know. But when the Germans were interviewed after the match, they said they spent the whole of halftime thinking, how do you usually get that small ball in the middle called CPR? How do you take him out of the game? And then to their surprise, Ghana's German coach took out CPR willingly. They said, praise the Lord. Ghana's coach changed our most dangerous player. Per the Germans' analysis, he said 1 out. Then, halftime two, there was apparently a bonus round between the players because they said they would pay the local Black Stars players 1/10 of what they were paying the foreign players as bonus. So halftime there was agreement at that. Second half, our most experienced defender on the left hand side, if you give the money, you can hit. He said he was hit. So they removed him and brought a young, enterprising, inexperienced left back to come and replace him. The moment the Germans saw that loophole, all the balls, all the balls went to that field. And within a space of 21 minutes, the Germans scored 6 goals and 5 of them came from that spot. The painful reality of life is that everything can be perfect about your business until one small loophole appears. Is it familiar? And that small loophole there, until you lose everything. Is it familiar? Yes. So I'm going to show you a couple of those loopholes that look innocent, but many of you will be familiar with them. Number 1, misaligned staff. Staff and partners, business partners who are not aligned with your mission. The company is going to the mission. The company is going, everyone is going to the right. But in the middle, one person alone is going to the left. And the effort the person is putting in is in equal measure to those who are going to the right. And the person doesn't even hide it. And the person comes to the canteen and says, I'm not saying, we have a strategic plan. I came to earn my salary. It will purely show disrespect to the mission, even if you care. And you too, in your glory and power, have kept that person in the business. Poisoning the atmosphere, discouraging people who are working hard, asking them, does the business belong to your father? Hey, ask for church, don't be like that, though. You do it. This, we don't know the man. When you are in trouble, that's when you see their true colors. There are people who will discourage anyone trying to do good. The way you are running your head is like I'm going into some trouble. But isn't it familiar? And I'm talking about those who do it openly, they don't even hide it. And you should leave them openly. As they go on, develop a very divisive culture where now they fight the good. They start by discouraging the good. If you don't stop them, they fight the good. They create an atmosphere of mistrust. Very soon, simple things will be messed up. You are having a conversation, the person is recording just in case, but you're not saying it. You are smiling at each other, but you are holding a cup behind your back. Am I connecting? If you allow that level of misalignment in your business, it will last. Misalignment and conflict. People smile in meetings. When they close, they don't even 2 minutes can't pass. They stand in one corner and poison everything that was discussed. And you will hear what they say. And you do nothing. Bible says that when Absalom died, when Amnon died, and David started crying, the guy who advised him, Amnon, to rape Tamar, said, but listen, Absalom has planned for me. What? I always knew that he killed him. He knew it. The guy was talking about it. That's how it is. People devise schemes, they make comments, they make statements, and you need to be unattended. David left unattended at great cost to the family and to the nation. Misaligned staff, conflict. The second one, inconsistency in work standards and ethics. Inconsistency. First, the businesses that make money are the businesses that are consistent. You know, if you give the dress to this designer, the person will deliver. Next time you will deliver again. 10 times you will deliver again. And then it is standardized. They won't tell you, oh, sorry, this time my apprentice that I gave the thing to messed me up. No. Yesterday I reminded you about a company that said it's not discount you want. We want consistency so they can plan with it. Airline catering, you can't bring the food 10 minutes late. The plane is going. If the plane lands 10 minutes late in Amsterdam airport, they will find them because there's a queue. So you are saying, oh, you don't understand the word, do so in my area so the food. I even tried. No. Airline catering is not allowed. And you know what I'm talking about, madam? You promise you will deliver a part to the air condition, you must deliver. When you are committed to something, you will do it. If you are not committed, you will have a good excuse. Let me tell you something. When they started showing machine, how many remember machine? According to this point, Oshin, if you are young, who knows Oshin? Oshin was the first ever telenovela in Ghana. A Japanese novella, anything with a story, people liked it. Oshin. And they showed Oshin around the time when there was the first boost of Ghana. So they can be watching Oshin, you know the light goes off, you hear, oh, my son is dead. Oshin, you were very powerful. My most enduring picture of Oshin was one day when on the Usulabari Road, I saw a crowd moving like Exodus. Apparently there was light off in Usu. So they were all walking to the party where there was light. To know about Oshin, a TV series. And in the midst of the crowd moving was a man carrying his television. This message was simple. You may have light but no telly. I have a telly but no light. If I meet you, we'll connect. I will put my telly in your house. You watch the Oshin. After that, I'll carry my telly and the Lord bless you. And I will. Isn't that commitment? If a person can be so committed to Oshin, if you give your promise to your customer, you must deliver. It's not that when you deal with one person in the company, if you meet one receptionist, beautiful, great, nice, pleasant, you meet the second receptionist and they are not nice. You must be guaranteed a good experience every time you come to the hospital or the hotel. No matter who's on duty, you must be the same. One day I went to London. Most people used when they used to allow us to take their currency back in this nice place. I remember very well. We all went to open an account in London just to have a job of saying you open an account. Then they said no. The transaction cost was going up, so now if your balance is below 1,000, we'll take 10 pounds a month of your account for transaction cost. Students didn't have money at the time, so the balance was below 1,000. They decided to tax. I said, and I called the bank and said, we deducted 4 times. You know what? I'm closing the account. I said, no problem. Pass through the bank and pay your money. He said, Ghana was not here. So, what's your name? She told me her name. He said, okay, I'll come in August. Suspend the deductions. I'll come in August. So when you can come to the bank, you collect it. He said, I wrote down her name. I got to the bank in August, 4 months or so later. I went straight to the bank. Where is Asamoah? He said, oh, can we help you? He said, no, I want to see Asamoah. I have somebody here. He said, oh, what is the matter? He sat down, what's your name? I mentioned my name. And he said, oh, we called her in April. April, yes. He gave me the details. He said, yeah, how do you know? It's okay. When we called, we said, you ran the account for this number of them. You said that. I said yes. He said, okay, so you asked for the account to be closed. I said yes. Did I hit to stop? I said yes. Listen, every conversation I had with the person, it was on the screen. So I didn't to see the person. In fact, the person was probably in technology, having that conversation with me via a call center. Me too, do the job. Come, I said, can I see him? He said, I said, you remember you? I'm talking about consistency. The system has been built to be consistent. So if some of your staff are nice and some of them are horrible, you will see that depending on who the customer deals with, they can't tell whether your company is nice or horrible. The business will last. Number 3, complacency. Complacency is where you think no one, you are in what they call in politics a comfortable game. No one can pass you. When you start growing in business, you start feeling very confident, which is not bad. But the most dangerous thing is to feel so confident that when new competitors come on the screen, so this book has never is. When did they register? They don't even know anything. Never see that. Because by the power of innovation and technology, sometimes the smaller boys rather are preferable because they are more flexible, their decision making is prompter, they are able to respond faster and quicker with technology and innovation. So when you say, I mean, let's face it, what a charismatic church is, autonomous church is this one from the having to go to Bible school. It's true. With time, you begin to sit down and see what are they doing right? You must learn from them. Then you have to imitate the practices of the churches. I'm not saying this case in church, but I'm just saying that anytime new people come on the block, don't dismiss them and say, oh, they don't do anything. Or some small players will overtake the big player. Complacency can kill your longevity. Number 4, disconnected solutions. That is simply assuming that you know what the customer needs. How do you go to a doctor and say, doctor, my head is malaria. Then they give you the malaria medicine. You won't even finish. When somebody is giving you information, don't feel encouraged with judgment. When a customer has a need, don't say, oh, we've heard this time before. We know already. Listen carefully. Because sometimes just one more variable they introduce, they change the treatment required. It may be malaria, but by just listening, you know a big allergy the person has. That if you give them a particular drug, it will kill them on the spot. But because you're not listening, you are hurrying to prescribe. This is a case of somebody who is drunk and has put out their hand for help. The person's from which you are welcome, you are put out your hand, cholesterol. When our business begins to assume we understand the customer's needs without listening, we set ourselves up to collapse. So number 4 is disconnected solutions. Am I speaking to somebody? Number 5 is procrastination. And that is where a simple problem begins to emerge. This one can be applicable pastor in church, in business, politics, everything. A small problem, a little leakage. You know that if you move decisively, yesterday we talked about decisiveness, quickly, speed, and block the leakage, that will be it. But we leave it and say, oh yeah, leakage. And a small leakage begins to become a multiple burst pipe. And by the time we finally decide to fix it, it has flooded, it has destroyed other things, it has messed up the compound, and the cost of repair is 10 times more than if somebody had been more responsible and dealt with it on the line. One person complained. If you had dealt with it then, we wouldn't have had a situation going on. The complaints are on radio and Facebook. Number 6 is service failure. Service failure is simply disappointing your stakeholders and your customers for a short time. Service failure. Of all the days, on that big day, the generator doesn't work. Service failure. At the conference, the light goes up halfway through the conference. It's powerful. So in the Victoria Falls in East Africa, there is a pastime called bungee jumping. The closest you can think of it is crew paragliding. And as my friend Pearson rightly said, as for paragliding, the white men jump, the black men jump. If you're like me and where you come from, you know you can't handle heights, you jump for this way jumping. And so in this place in East Africa called Victoria Falls, bungee jumping is where you jump off the cliff and there's a rope around the waist. And that's why when you are shot, they are taking pictures and videos. Yeah. When you finish, they give you the videos and you pay big money for the video, the pictures. And you pay to jump through. And the rope throws you down, and then just before you hit the water and the rocks, and the rope will stop. You bounce like this. It's crazy. They say there are crocodiles in the water, there are rocks there, and the rope will stop just before the water is in. This 21-year-old Australian went to Victoria Falls. I don't know what's happening in her house. They threw her over the tree and the rope broke. Where the rope was supposed to stop, the rope broke. And she fell into the rapids and the water was carrying her with the rocks. And it is more than there are crocodiles in the water. Hey! They managed to pull her out of the water. And the next day I was watching it myself live on Sky News. And they were asking her about her experience, and she was showing the scars on her back. And it struck me that it was somebody whose job it is to check the road. The strength and the integrity of the road. How was that person? What was that person doing? Because if you be using the road beyond some time and just somebody's job is to change the road into a fresh one. The fact that it was left meant somebody was sleeping on the job. When I say service failure, it means one person can sleep on the job and a mining disaster can occur, an aircraft can crash because somebody who plays a very small role. See how it doesn't matter. You say, oh, thank God it was East Africa. If it was Ghana, I'll worry. That same year, Ghana National Fire Service was doing a fire drill at City House. A fire drill is a routine. They do it every time. Maybe every month, every other month, they do fire drill. What will happen when the high-rise buildings on fire? They go there and they throw themselves down and show how they will come out of the roof and solve the problem. It's not that. They were having a fire drill at City House. And everybody will come down and the crowd is watching the jumping. This Castillo was just married last year, fresh. Came out of the window and the rope just broke. And with the crowd watching, they are just been clapping. The woman fell from the top of City House to the floor. My apologies if there's anyone here who to play that. I'm just bringing to you the reality of when somebody sleeps on the job. Somebody can die. Listen, if you don't do your accounting job well, somebody can die. If you don't do your dentist job well, somebody can die. If you don't do your mining job well, somebody can die. In any field you are in, if you don't deliver well, somebody can die. Even in investment, if you don't watch the market well, somebody can die. Is somebody here today? Are you learning? These are real issues, and they can kill the business. The seventh and final one. The seventh and final one is customer backlash. And that is related to number 6. One of the things that can kill your business is when the customers decide this is not enough. Let me give you an example. So, in the first picture, a man called Int'l was traveling from Nova Scotia in Canada to a US city and boarded United Airlines plane. While he was still in the window of the plane, he saw them passing the baggage through the human conveyor. And he was a musician. And his designer guitar, somebody threw to the next person to put on the plane. And the guitar fell down and the leg got broken. When he arrived at the destination, he went straight to the counter. He went to the counter the next day and said, you guys, you broke my guitar, you must pay for this. The cost of the guitar was $3,500. The repair was going to cost just under $1,000. He said, I saw it with my naked eyes. It was your flight handlers who broke the guitar. So pay for the repair. They said, oh, per our small print on your ticket, you are supposed to bring your complaint exactly 24 hours after the flight lands. You brought it a few hours later than the deadline. He said, so something I saw, something that happened, you are using these rules. He went 10 times trying to get them to understand their error. He said, well, we can't help you because the rules are the rules. And the guy said, okay, in that case, I am a musician. I can't fight you in court, but I will make a song against your company and put it free on YouTube. If before I die, 1 million people watch the song on YouTube, I'll get my reward. So he made a song called United Breaks Guitars. Friends, within a couple of months, not 1 million, not 2 million, over 10 million people had watched the video. United Airlines shares fell within that period by 10%. The total value of the share loss was $180 million. If you did well in maths in school, you will know the difference between $180 million and $3,500 or $1,000. Just repair the $10,000. $180 million. Let me tell you what made the story even more funny. As we speak, if you go to YouTube, the song has made 17 million hits. But that's not even the most interesting part. Dave Carroll became an international celebrity, customer service expert, and he had only one message: United breaks guitars. So when you hear they invited Dave Carroll to Japan to go and speak, for the topic? Dave Carroll wrote a book, what's the topic? And everything he did made money. The book made money, the lectures made money, and just one story of disappointment, the man made so much money from it. Then remember that he promised to do 3 songs. He promised to do 3 songs, and he has done only 1. So he released part 2, volume 2 of United Breaks Guitars. And the funniest thing about volume 2 is that, you know, Google adverts. When you are playing a song on YouTube, you know the adverts that appear before the song and those things that United bought all. And when you are playing the song, then they are writing the apology below the song and explaining what they have done so that it doesn't happen again. I'm just telling you that the cost of repairing the damage is far higher than the cost of the error. So if you want to build a transgenerational business, please watch these service failures and watch these backlashes. You would think that happened in 1999, so they've changed. Just last year, how many remember the story of this doctor, Dr. Dow, on United Airlines? Come on. One day, United Airlines overbooked last year and said they've done a ballot. 4 passengers must get down from the plane because they didn't expect everybody to come. And they chose this man to get down. His wife was in the plane. She wasn't chosen to get down. He must get down. Then he said, I'm going to a conference. I can't get down. They said, you will get down. We have balloted. You will get down. He said, I won't get down. Then they held him, dragged him out of the plane. And by the time they finished dragging him, his teeth were broken. If he was a musician, he would do a song called what? Are we hearing? You see, but the painful reality is that the same airline lost 180 million from one error. From this one, they lost 1 billion. 1 billion in 1 month. Are we talking? You see, well, that is America. That is Canada. I can show you Ghana examples. An insurance company missold to a journalist. They made a promise. Even when they want you to buy it, they'll tell you what they want to tell you. And then when it gets to the execution, then they explain that you didn't understand it well. This is not what we said. And this journalist decided to take them on Facebook. All of a sudden, there was a campaign boycotting this company. And this is a social influencer. So all the big influencers started saying, boycott this company. Eventually, they had to send a delegation, management delegation, to the individual, go and placate and beg her. Then she wrote, go ahead. Like her fans can go ahead and patronize the company. You see how powerful, but it is the reality of our time. Are we talking? Threat number one, misaligned staff and conflict. Number 2, inconsistency in work delivery, and ethics. Number 3, complacency. Number 4, disconnected solutions. You are giving them paracetamol. Number 5, procrastination. Number 6, service failure. And then 7, customer backlash. The customer can punish you. In Subway restaurant in Australia, they said they were having a 1 foot beggar, a beggar that is 1 foot long. So if a beggar is 6 inches and it is $1, they say just add 20 cents, we'll give you 1 foot. The crowd was like, buy one get one free. They were buying the beggar until one person bought the beggar and put a ruler and measured the 1 foot, and it was 11 inches, and put it on Facebook. The next day, 142,000 people had put their similar problem on Facebook. Friends, we live in a social media driven, technology driven world. So it can amplify one challenge and give you problems. These are realities that can hamper the growth of your business. Let's end with the enablers. What is it that can push the business forward? Several years ago, a group of management theorists, Peters and Waterman, wrote a book called In Search of Excellence, and they developed what is called the McKinsey's 7S framework that can help a business to last for a long time, a church to last for a long time, an entity to last for a long time. In the next few minutes, I'm going to leave you with the 7 things that they recommended. That framework is captured in this diagram that shows that all 7 are related. Shared values, strategy, structure, system, style, skills, and stuff. The first one is strategy. The reason why Joseph and Pharaoh succeeded for a long time, even after Joseph's death, was that Joseph gave Pharaoh a model, a strategy. And the Bible explains that by some time, the wealth of the whole world belonged to Pharaoh. He said, when you finish taking the grain, you will take their land. Then you will take the people themselves. He showed Pharaoh how to own the whole world. Strategy. One day, Jack Welch, former CEO of General Electric, invited his biggest competitor from Europe to visit him in his office. When the competitor came, lying in front of Jack Welch was a very big document. So let's say the company is General Electric, Jack Welch's company, and the competitor is called, let's say, Anointed Electrical, just for a purpose of illustration. And lying in front of Jack Welch is a document that says the 5-year plan of Anointed Electrical. That is your company. And you look at the document and you know who didn't write it. So Jack Welch deliberately is having a conversation with the man, and the man can't concentrate because what is in that document? Then he asked him, do you want to see it? He said, of course. Then he pushed the document to him. The man was reading the document and just shaking his head. After he glanced through the document, he made a confession to Jack Welch and said, your document is better than the plan I'm running my company with. Then he said, who wrote it? Friends, here is the glorious revelation of this presentation. He said he gathered a bunch of young people. The world has changed. Friends, you must have a strategy for your church. You must have a strategy for your business. You must have a strategy for your career. How you become CEO. You won't become CEO by good luck. You can't become a CEO by good luck. You must have a plan. Is somebody learning? Wonderful. Number 2, structure. Structure. Your foundation must be good. The foundation must be good. Build a strong foundation. Build structures that will last. I mentioned it earlier on. The kind of registration, your compliance, the resilience of your structure. Some things are fanciful, but they don't last. Build something that will last. Pay attention to the structures. who reports to who. If you are unwell and you are not around for 6 months, who takes charge? In the structure, who is your assistant? Who answers to who? Who signs? Who approves? Build a structure. Number 3. While talking about structure, something very interesting came to my mind. The structure that holds a skyscraper is different from the structure that holds a one-story building. So depending on where you want to go with this, build a foundation that can hold it. If you build a foundation for a one-story and change your mind and try to build a skyscraper, what will happen? It will collapse. So structure. So when you are building a foundation for a skyscraper, you see yourself going down and down and down. And people are saying, oh yeah, you say down, down. Because you are looking at what you build on it. The third one is systems. Systems refers to how efficient is your service delivery process. And friends, this is one of the most critical of the 7. In our Springboard Roadshow, Mr. T will tell you that we always said we wanted to reach 1 million people. It was one of our big dreams. We'll talk about it into the night. How do we reach 1 million? Meanwhile, we had reached at that time only 150,000. By the time we were celebrating Springboard at 10, we had reached 200,000 people live in direct contact. We said, if you extrapolate 10 years, you have reached 200,000. How do you reach 1 million? So when we're celebrating Springboard at 10 and we said we reach 1 million people, we thought, let's have more programs, let's have more events. Then we said, what will be the cost? How many auditoriums can you rent that will even give you 5,000? Until we stumbled on digitization and the power of technology. And decided that, because you can, one day we're in WA, and then the MPs of the whole upper West region are gathered and they say, come to our constituency. You to come to our constituency. Listen, everybody wants to come to their village. You can't. So we decided that instead of trying to go around the whole country, trying to go around the whole world, we'll rather begin to converge in 3 events, ultimately 1 event, and then rather create technologies that allow people to watch us from all over the world in a seamless way. The person can cross their legs in Takwa and watch and enjoy it, can ask questions, can win prizes. Everything that we do, no matter where you are, you can participate. Last year, we dropped the number of physical attendees from 30,000 to 10,000, and guess what? We had 1 million participants online. Systems simply means that make things convenient for people, cheaper for people to comply with, let them be able to pay by mobile money. Don't tell me come to my office, send it to them by WhatsApp. Make things easier for people, cheaper for people to participate. Everything you are doing, ask yourself, how can this be more convenient? How can this be cheaper? How can this give more value? How can people participate from the comfort of their homes? Because these days, the next phase of the English Premier League is for Amazon.com to go and battle with Sky for the rights to put the Premier League on people's phone. They don't need television again. Now the whole Premiership will be watched on phones. It's going to be massive, and the money it will bring will be crazy. If you want to play ball and survive, you must think digital. One day I went to watch, I love football, I won't hide it. And I'm not a passive lover of football. I take it very seriously. I take it like business. I understand football. I write extensively about football and make money from it. My son is a full-time sports journalist. And a very good one at that. So football is serious business for me. I went to watch football in the UK. And whilst I was watching the football, it struck me that, hey, it's end of the month. I checked, I could pay my tithe from my phone. I could pay my electricity, I could pay my water, I could pay my this. I went through a list of all the bills I pay, and I paid all. The only one I couldn't pay was my investment company. So I sent a text to the CEO and said, "You are not serious, you should be fired." For the next 3 hours, back, forth, back, forth, back, forth, back, forth. By the time I came back from the UK, I had a contract to go and hold a digitization strategy session with the whole company about how to take their whole strategy apart and make it digital. It covered the cost of the football, the travel. Is somebody happy to be here? Yes. Systems. A friend of mine just built his laundry company on that. At the time he started, he didn't have money. It was somebody in church that Charlie, how many local few, and then you go to those houses and wash their things. When he started his company, the difference was that while all laundries would say, "Bring your things to the laundry," he would come to your house and say, "I'll pick it from your house, deliver it to your house at the same cost. In fact, 10% less than the laundry." You say, and meanwhile, he didn't have one machine. No. He went to your laundry and said, "You are struggling with your marketing. You're not getting customers. I can guarantee you this number of shirts, this number of items a week. In fact, more than that." He said, "Really? What do you want in return?" He says, 40% discount. He said, 40% is too much. I said, you know what? You don't have to struggle. Your main business is there. I'm guaranteeing you this addition of marketing volumes." He negotiated 40% discount. So guess what? The item is 10 cedis at the laundry. He gets it for 6 cedis. He delivers it to your doorstep and charges you 9 cedis. And you are like, "This thing is cheaper. Why go to the laundry?" They give the business to him. He makes 3 cedis. He can get his cost out of it. He still makes profit. He doesn't have one machine, one staff to worry about. Until the numbers grew beyond some point, now he could get his own machines. And this guy who was in church every time asking, "Can you get some small money?" has built his own office complex, laundry complex. He's got his vehicles, he's got his staff. He was giving this testimony at Springboard last year as a Springboard success story of somebody who just sat in our conference and learned how to take a small idea, turn it around, and make it beautiful. And as he was speaking, our sponsor said, "You know what? If this is the kind of people you are producing in Ghana, we will continue giving you money." Eesh. May the Lord give you ideas. May the Lord help you. May your systems generate value. Number 4 is staffing. The people you hire and the people you pay will determine how fast your business will grow and how it will last. And very often employers believe that, "Well, this is what I have." You always have options. One day I said to a company that I chaired their board, I said, "Listen, if the staff is not performing, don't waste our time." And they were trying to explain, and I said, last year, in one industry in Ghana alone, almost 1,000 people lost their jobs. All those people are looking for jobs. I tell you something, anywhere, any industry that you are in, if the people you are hiring are not giving you value, change them. Train them, they want to be trained. Help them, they want to be helped. But if they are like the category of people we spoke about earlier, misaligned and giving you problems, don't sit around and let them feel and collapse your business. Change them. From the top to the bottom, if you are not happy with what you are paying for, stop paying. Auntie, do you understand? Stop paying. Don't pay for people who are not giving you value. Because what happens is this. By the law of the chain, that small person in the midfield that you are allowing to remain in the business will destroy the work of all the rest. And even more painfully, the good ones will start asking themselves, "Why are we working so hard? This person is not working and they are paying him or her." And they fold their arms. Number 1 is what? Strategy. Number 2, structures. Number 3, systems. Number 4, number 5 is skills. The talent, the ability, develop yourself. Listen, I will say this without any equivocation. I spend time developing myself. I told him yesterday, I went straight to bed because even though I had prepared my presentation for today, through the night, I was thinking of individuals I had seen, comments I had heard, industries represented. When we were giving the list of companies here, I was thinking through the companies, what are their needs? Somebody will say, but what difference will it make? I mean, say what you say and go. No. It doesn't work that way. For you to be relevant, you must have context every time. Some of the examples I'm giving in Tadi, take me to Accra and I'll give different examples altogether. Because I understand the city. I was born here. I understand the dynamics, what the city has experienced, the joys and the pains of Tadi. I understand it. And I can't talk in Tadi like I'm talking in London. No. Perfect your work. Be an expert. Take time. Invest time and effort in becoming good at what you do. Never ever feel that you've done enough, you know it all. Skill. You must be good. That explains why one designer can sew a shirt and people pay $100 and they are queuing, and yours is 50 Ghana cedis and nobody is buying the same material. You don't understand. You say, we've cut the same thing, you saw the same thing, you think it's the same thing, but there's just one thread B and one mark B. You can't get it if you don't have it. So in fact, the name alone crowd that they are wearing, they are happy. And that name didn't come cheap. They worked for it. Hello? Skill. You must be good at what you do. Jewel's team preaches 29 minutes, 30 seconds every Sunday. 29 minutes, 30 seconds. I can give you the detailed program of our church. I gave it to you last time. On a Sunday, I will tell you this person will speak for 2 minutes. This person will sing for 3 minutes. This person will give an announcement. It's on the paper. There is a controller. You say, hey, the person will kill the spirit. No, it won't kill any spirit. There is a regulator holding the program. And the evaluation after, did we close? When I was being ordained, our regular 2-hour service, they put the ordination inside it. Second service. And we close at 12:20 instead of 12. And my pastor was apologizing for closing at 12:20. People were like, hey, come to our place, ordination, like we close at 5. But the beautiful thing is that when you build systems that you can work with and tune, people can predict. So they know they can take you serious. 29 minutes, 30 seconds, Joel will end. So you can plan with it. People can come and they see from here, I'm going to the airport. They know they can plan with it. Hello. Skills. Number 6, style. Style is about your own unique way of delivering. And that is a very important variable. There's a church in Nigeria. When you get there from the airport, everyone greets you and says, I celebrate you. And they do it effortlessly. It's a language. The whole church, everybody meets you and says, I celebrate you. And the first person who does it, you will not know how to respond, and you will not even know what to say. It will look odd. But by the time you spend one day there, you will feel like a celebrity. Imagine if you are coming from a place where everyone is reminding you of your problems and your failings and your mistakes, and you come into an environment where everybody says, I celebrate you, and they are looking at you in the eyes. You will feel that, listen, I'm somebody. I'm saying it doesn't cost money always to build a style. If you persistently do something, it becomes the way you do your thing. Very often when you announce these things, people say, if I had money, I would do it. No, it's not money. Style is a language. The way you shake people's hand, the way you look them in the eye. If you have regulated it in the company, everybody must by force do it. If not, they've breached. The last one is shared values. Shared values. One day we held a conference and asked the question. This was not even a big conference, a conference of teenagers. And the simple question is, what will you do to reach 1 million people in the next 5 years? Write it down. Write it down. What can I do to touch 1 million people in the next 5 years? What can I do to touch 1 million people in the next 5 years? It's the kind of question that when you hear for the first time, you're like, oh, how? Please don't dismiss it. Please don't rule it out. My email address will be at the end of the slide. I'm not looking for your idea. I don't need your idea. I'm only looking for a way to challenge you to answer the question. And all those who say they want me to coach them, I can't physically coach you. I'm not even here. And I can't also take phone calls because you don't even know where I am. If you've tried calling me since morning, I'm on my feet. When I finish this, I'm on the plane. When I land, I'm going to preach tomorrow. I shut off my phone. So you say, I'm a friend now. Look, I'm not available. But when you send me an email or you send me a WhatsApp, at 2 a.m. when I finish my sermon notes, I say I have 30 minutes. I reply all those who have sent me. That is my convenience. But you want to call me at your time, you won't get me, and don't be offended. That's how I am. I've built my life that way. I am never available at your time. I'm available at my time. So what can you do to touch 1 million people in the next 5 years? If you want to engage me, let's discuss it. What I will do is challenge what you have written. How will you do this? Can you use the same thing we did with Springboard? I will challenge you. Can you do this physically? What about digitally? What are you deploying? What skill do you have? What can you bring to the table? I'll ask you those questions to help you achieve it. And for free, you don't owe me anything. How many will take the challenge? Put your hands together for yourselves. If you will not take the challenge of sending it to me, it doesn't worry me at all. It gives me less work to do. But at least do it for yourself. That's all I'm interested in. If nobody sends it to me, I'm not worried. But most importantly, do it for yourself. Because for us, the game changer about this was that it ensured that we were able to reinvent something we have done for 10 years to take on a new lease of life. Experts in strategy say that if something is alive and after 3 years it doesn't reinvent itself, it starts going down. If something is at the top and after 3 years it doesn't reinvent itself, it will start going down. Watch the top companies, the MTNs, those who are, every time there's a new campaign, a new drive, a new focus. If MTN had not moved their focus from calls to data, by now, they would have lost money completely. So, that's your challenge. What can you do to touch 1 million in the next 5 years? Let me conclude by asking a question on succession. So David rose up from a very obscure background and by military conquest built an Israel that was a dominant force in their time, from one end to another, fully engaged and in charge, and handed over the kingdom to his son Solomon, who, because his father had fought all the wars, spent his time in strategic engagements. Even though he engaged some of the people the wrong way by marrying their daughters, at least his time was spent in engagement, trade and engagement.
Okay.
Then Solomon too handed the thing over to his son. As for his son, he didn't have a plan. So the first day in office, they put him and said, listen, your father has made us work. We have built the palace, the temple. Charlie, they have taxed us. We are tired. So reduce the taxation level small and let us have some tax breaks. And let's start the first few years. Once you establish commitment, then people will serve you all the rest of your life. That was, you didn't have a plan. People brought you a plan. Engage the plan. Ask, how will it work? First, he went to the elders. The elders say, brilliant. That is how to get people's loyalty. Give them something and they will give you everything. Then he went to the yo-yo guys who pulled their trousers down. And he said, Charlie, the people are saying you should come. He said, what tax? Go and give them an answer. Tell them you are in charge. Tell them it's our time. We are in power. The Fusuges say we are in power. So the guy came and stood there and said, I'm telling you, my little finger is thicker than my father's waist. Whatever my father did, I will double it. They say, by that evening, somebody who inherited 12 tribes ended with 2. You hand over everything you have sweated and toiled for to a foolish person, and within 24 hours, 10 out of 12 of your labor is lost. Sometimes, even while you are alive, you give them small power and they want to dismantle everything you have built, and they say they are building it their own way, and they spoil everything. So my last point to you, what shall it profit a man or a woman if you build something all your life and hand it over to an unwise son or an unwise daughter? May the Lord guide you. May the Lord lead you. May the Lord help you. May you overcome all the threats to your business, and may you build a global and transgenerational entity in Jesus' name. Amen.
Thank you very much.
Before you ask your questions, I made a promise. So yesterday I didn't introduce my books, and I was accosted and asked why I didn't introduce the books. So I'll introduce the books, but you should give me a copy so that I can show it to them. Give me a copy of one of the books, one each of the books. So the first one is Speak Like a Pro. Yesterday I told you about the lady who got to 99 and the snake bit her, she came back to 7. How you speak is very, very critical. No matter your career, if you don't know how to talk, others will talk better than you and you will suffer for that. Speak Like a Pro shows you what to say. No, let me have your attention. Just look at me. Keep bring it, don't worry. Speak Like a Pro teaches you what to say and what not to say, how to talk and how to carry yourself, how to conduct anything that involves speaking. So my first recommendation is the book called Speak Like a Pro. It will help you very much, even how to present, make a corporate presentation. What I'm doing right now, I'm speaking. It was a medical doctor who told me one day that, Albert, you think you're a businessman, but I can predict your future. You'll be a speaker. I didn't believe him. He said to me, buy all the books you can find and read them. Sometimes I feel like taking so much money and going to say a big thank you to him, because he was so right. My life changed at once. Speaking is a very powerful tool. The second one is 1001 tips. If you've been following me on Facebook and Twitter these days, I'm serializing these tips, and I've only written number 15. And people asking me, why is all this? And I said, this is only 15 of 1001. I release one a day. It will take me 3 years to finish releasing them. But it's all in this book. From number 1 to number 1001. It's all in this book. The third one is our biggest and our most well-researched book of all time. It's called 101 Keys to Achievement and Fulfillment. It's like a dictionary of thought from A to Z. Yesterday I gave you A to Z 26. Just mentioning them and you were very happy. This one is A to Z 101. So 26 times 5. For each alphabet you get an average of 5. And not just the mention. It gives you 3 pages of details about how to anticipation, achievement, all the A's and all the B's to set. You'll find them in this book. And the last one is our latest. That snake that takes you from 99 to 7. And that ladder that can take you from the bottom to the top is all in this book. This one came out just a month ago. All of them are going out at half price at the back. That means that instead of 50, you pay 25 for them. And I'll autograph as many as I can before I leave for the airport. Let me conclude with my... I don't do this. I never do this. He'll tell you. But I'll give you my contact. And I've indicated strictly WhatsApp, because if you call me, I won't pick. And that's why I gave you the warning. So this is my... Please give me the final slide. It's how to find me by email, how to find me on social media, and how to find me on WhatsApp. And the computer is banned from freezing at this point in the name of the Lord. All right, so hopefully it will come up, and you can reach me by WhatsApp, you can reach me by email, you can reach me on social media. And I like questions. Engage me and I'll answer them as best as I can. One more time, I'll say a big thank you to Pastor and a big thank you to Mr. T and the team for inviting me. If there are any questions, yes, I can take a few of them.
Yes. We'll take a few questions and then Reverend Albert can go. We've actually negotiated your check-in at the airport, so we have just about 30 minutes more. We've negotiated the check-in at the airport. You should have been at the airport by now. So we'll take just some few questions, and I'll start with the sponsors. If you have any question or anybody has any question, please indicate. We'll not take more than 4 questions. So indicate quickly. Pastor is negotiating for more. So let's be rather fast about it. If you have any burning question throughout the presentation since yesterday and you want to ask, please, this is the opportunity. Any question? Welcome, money. Wonderful.
Okay. My name is David Robertson. There's this question I want to ask about strategy. I found myself to be in a company that would deal in retail, supermarkets. But we have a lot of plans, a lot of strategies, and at times you are eager to drive them. But the top is not giving you the support. In this case, what do you do? Thank you.
Okay, second question. Yeah, go ahead.
My name is Keku David, and I actually have a question which is related to governance and politics. And it says, in the area of human capital development and resource management, what would be your best idea to the graduate institutions and colleges to improve their output to globalization? And I would also want to ask a second question. If you do believe that the reforms spelled out by the government is enough to tackle the issue of myopicity of our next generation in the country and African leaders.
Thank you, Kweku. Third question here.
Please, my name is Edu, Big Edu. Please, I'm in building construction. So my question is that, how can we prevent single building? Because sometimes structure is there and all of a sudden it sinking building.
Thank you, Edu. Who is, okay, there's a hand here.
Please, my name is Michael Eko. I want to know from our speaker what caused the shift when he completed the tertiary institution. And whilst he was doing the presentation, he mentioned that he was a businessman and a medical officer predicted that he would be a speaker. What moved him from that place of being a businessman to an outstanding speaker he is now?
Okay, last question, then we go for answers. We see from Welcome Microcredit.
My question is, I have built a 1-bedroom apartment. Now I want to build a skyscraper. What do I do?
From 1-bedroom apartment to a skyscraper, okay. Reverend, should we start from the top? Your microphone.
I didn't tell you to ask me questions about building technology, but okay. And let me start with David, who says you are working in an organization and you have plans and strategies about how the company can get to the top, and the top is not giving you support. The challenge with being in the middle or at the bottom is that sometimes you think you have a better picture than those who are standing at the top. Let me just give you some very honest feedback. The height at which you stand in life determines how far you can see. It doesn't mean that your strategy at the bottom is wrong, but sometimes the number of parameters you are using to make decisions are not as all-encompassing as those who stand at the top. If this building is a seven-story building, if I stand on it, I can see above you. You can see above you. If I say there's a tsunami coming, you are still here. You say, I'm lying. But what I've seen, you haven't seen. So your elevation determines your perspective. So just the fact that you have strong ideas does not mean that those ideas are the best. However, having said that, I must also establish that there are times when the person at the bottom can release a solid idea, like Naaman's maidservant. Naaman had captains, lieutenants, none of them brought a solution. A maidservant brought it. In fact, I remember when we were doing a 10-year strategy session for my first company, not my first, but my most dominant company at the time, the printing company. We were having a session after 10 years to determine the mission, the values of the company. And we had brought a consultant. I can't consult myself, so we had brought a consultant in. We were brainstorming a whole day. And we said everyone must be involved, including the apprentices and everybody. And after the whole day of brainstorming, we were not making a headway. This apprentice was sitting in the corner looking at us and was wondering, so he looked at us and said, printing there, and one said, they wrote promptness. Then he said, they wrote accuracy. Then he said, and you said, no, fine, no, I was saying they wrote consistency. I'm telling you, the humility of admitting that the three core values of a 10-year-old company, at that time, award-winning company, came from an apprentice who had no secondary education. So yes, the person who at the bottom can, but you see, the forum was ripe, the atmosphere was correct, and he didn't present that, listen, I have a better idea than you, the managers. It was a brainstorming session. He presented it in his own simple language. We, the experts, took his simple thoughts and crystallized them into corporate values. It's a combination of effort. Sometimes a small question a young person can ask can change a company's direction. But don't look for the credit and say it was my idea. It just could be your question, a small thought, and then it's speculated upwards and it becomes strategy. But if you are out there to say, I'm even the one bringing ideas that you're using to run the company, listen, they will shut you down. Nobody will listen to you again. Kweku is asking about human capital development and the reforms. I've not studied the reforms adequately, so I can't articulate the details of the reform. Those who have done it are saying that the idea that we are even undertaking reforms that will focus more on talent and engagement of the faculties of our students is brilliant. These are things that I've said all my life. I've said in several fora that I think entrepreneurship, number 1, 2, talent development, and 3, investment must be taught from nursery. I've always said that. So any revision of our curriculum to make it more practical, for me, I'm 100% for it. And I still stand by that. But I have not studied the content in detail. It would be unfair to comment in detail about what I haven't studied. The third one was Big Edu, who is asking about sinking buildings. I don't know, but I know one thing for sure. Foundations are important, and sometimes our challenge is that we make statements like, can you believe that I didn't even need an architect, I didn't even use an expert, I designed it myself. We brag about having put aside experts, but no matter what you think you know, somebody went to school and understands that if you turn the same design you have done this way, because the sun rises in the east, you will get more natural light in the room. That one you don't know. Also, if you turn it this way, because of the wind flow, you will need less air conditioning because there will be a lot of wind, natural wind in the building. Small things that you will not understand. The topo of the land can tell you what to look out for, and the marsh, you wouldn't know. Even the salt content in the land that can affect the metal members, you wouldn't know. So we think that, I can easily design it myself, cut off the cost of architecture. And then you design it and it's sinking, and you are saying, why is it sinking? Use experts to help you. Michael, you're asking what caused the shift at tertiary education. Unlike many of you who will work in corporate for a long time before you start your own business, I was doing my business when I was in university. So I finished university as a business person. But I did national service like everybody else, and I worked in the hotel for 5 months. After the 5th month, I couldn't handle it anymore because I was doing a nice job in the hotel and a day job in business. It was too much. After 5 months, I was sick. Working day and night continuously was too much. So I decided that I would sacrifice one, and I sacrificed the job and stayed with the business. And since then, I've done business for years. But how did I end up as a speaker? I was doing business, and I also had a ministry pool. It started small, it kept getting bigger and bigger and bigger, till I got to the point where I said, I cannot do my factory business anymore because it requires close supervision and direct involvement. I can't do it, so I shut it down. I looked at what I could do and what I couldn't do. But interestingly, I found out that what I do now is very closely related to what I do in ministry. It also allows me enough time so that I don't have to spend a lot of time on the business side. So I focus more on my businesses that involve knowledge economy and less on production. And that's how come I grew stronger and stronger and stronger, because I looked at myself, how much time I have as a full-time pastor, how much time I have, how much engagement I can afford, and decided that consulting, knowledge economy, speaking, writing, broadcasting was a natural offshoot. So my friend predicted that about 1995 thereabouts, but every year it became more evident to me. And because I had built the skill, I'm talking about building the skill, that's why I want to encourage people to do church work. You say, how did you become so good at doing what you do? I didn't even know I'd do it full time. Pastor, I just took a job as a youth pastor and to the young people and trained them and trained them and trained them. I took the Int'l World Cup. I wasn't only training them spiritually, I was training them in business, I was training them in investment for 10 years. Until I got so good at what I was doing that everybody was inviting me to come and do it, and they were willing to pay. Then I realized that, hey, listen to son. But I was doing it just for the love of the Lord. So volunteering in church is one very fine way of building your ability and your talent. And if you are serving God, don't let anyone discourage you. It's a very, very useful way of developing your talent. Final one. Kwesi, how do you convert a one-bedroom to a skyscraper? Let me tell you something that I found out after I built my first business complex. When I was going to build it, there was a structure there, very strong structure, and it had been there for years. And the experts said, this structure, I can add on and build a 3-story, and it was true. But when I finished building it, I realized that the gain I had made by adding on was marginal, considering the location and the function of what I was going to do. I would have been far better off pulling it down and building a fresh foundation and building what I wanted. I took it and put it in my armpit quietly. So now that you have asked, I can give it to you for free. Sometimes your best bet, pull it down and build fresh. Decide how you want the parking to be. Decide where you want to put the entrance. Decide how you want it. Because what you are building compared to what is there, the difference is too much. And the gain is so small. So you are better off starting afresh and building afresh. If you have any question I haven't answered, please. Right. How do you change it? All right. Right. No. As for the business, don't collapse it. I think that the key things are to revisit the 7S framework I have mentioned. What is the structure? There are some bits, for instance, and I'm going to revisit this issue without any ill intention. There are some kinds of business that a sole proprietorship will not be allowed to participate. I hope you know that. Some kinds of bid, they won't even accept sole proprietorship. Secondly, some kind of business, they have to come and inspect your premises before they can give you the contract. If you don't have an office, you can't get it. So even though I mentioned people who were saving money by doing the business outsourcing, it gets to a certain stage where they say they are coming to inspect your office. If you don't have an office, you are out. So when you're talking about a skyscraper, suddenly you're looking at your structures, your systems, your staffing, your strategy, your values, your style, all those things come into play. And then also those threats you mentioned, if they are there, please eliminate them, because that person doing that thing that you are ignoring could turn around to be the person who destroys everything you work so hard to build.
And it's been marvelous, it's been wonderful. If I were you and I've enjoyed the program, I'll be on my feet and applaud. Please let's put our hands together. Appreciate this man of God. Appreciate this consultant. Appreciate our speaker for this program. Reverend, thank you. We are grateful. don't know why anybody would not come for this program after his sacrifice to be here. But we are very grateful, Reverend. God richly bless you. At this juncture, I would also like to thank you for coming. I know you've been blessed, and I know we've learned something that will take us far. If we see him next year by this time, what do we say? Have we forgotten it? What do we say? Okay, let's say it together. If we see him next year by this time, what do we say? For the last time, thank you very much. At this juncture, let's receive our senior pastor and the conference host, Reverend Prosper Asamoah.
Let's put our hands together once more for Reverend Ocran for coming. Hallelujah. Where do I start from? I don't have time, so I won't talk much. But Reverend, thank you very much for coming. Thank you so much for what you've taught us yesterday and this morning. When you come back again, we will tell you, yes, we did it. Yes, we did it. And thank you very much. This is our private matter, but I'll say it here. I spent an hour with him before this morning session, and we spoke like friends, somebody who knew, people who knew themselves long ago. I got a lot of ideas from him, he gave me a lot of tips, a lot of things. And Reverend, I'm telling you before my congregation, even everybody here, I'm very grateful for your friendship. Hallelujah. I know you're something very important. And we spoke about the future of this conference. Yesterday I said 4 years, for over 4 years I've been thinking about it, how to get it together. There are some areas in life that we don't have the opportunity to be taught in, but those are the areas that define our lives, like family life. Sometimes we don't have any way we can study. We are not taught in school, we are not taught at home. Sometimes we are not taught at home because the examples at home sometimes are not good. And then in church too, we are doing spiritual, and we don't discuss them. But those things can define your life. Another area is career and business. We go to school, we learn some things that sometimes we don't know the use of when we come out. But we are supposed to succeed in business. And many of us are struggling in business because we don't have the training for it. As a believer, as Christians, and as a leader, as a Christian leader, it has been on my heart that we should create a forum where we can have talks like this, where in smaller groups we can meet and discuss business, learn about principles. There's so much knowledge out there that we don't know. We can bring people to teach us, to help us. And so I don't want this conference to end, to be a one-off conference. It's the beginning of something that will continue. Do you agree with me that it should continue? Great. So before this conference, I decided that we'll start something, and with my team, Mr. T and his team, we've decided that we'll continue this. So there must be a body that will organize it. We want to make sure it is not limited to Love Sanctuary. In fact, I don't want it to be a Love Sanctuary thing. I want it to be a kingdom thing. So the kingdom of God, we are bringing businessmen and business executives together so that we can talk about business. Because business is ministry. Business is holy. And we must do business to have impact in this world. That's our role, to be fruitful and multiply. So we formed this, I don't call it NGO or whatever it is, we call it Boaz Business Community. So Boaz, because Boaz was a businessman in the Bible. Boaz was a businessman. Boaz had a pillar of the temple named after him. Boaz is a type of the businessmen we want, who have impact. He was the father of Jesse, and Jesse was the father of David, and so he had a lot of impact. Jesus eventually came out of David. So Boaz business community, and this business community is going to put together programs and things like that. Reverend Ocran has given me great ideas which we are going to put together, distill it, and make it practical for us. So after today, the names, make sure your names out there, you've registered, the emails and the phone numbers. We'll contact you, and then we'll let you know what we plan, what we intend to do, and when we're going to meet again, and how the meetings will be. It's going to be self-sustaining and self-managing. Okay, self-financing and self-sustaining. So as a group, we will see how best to go about it. So this morning, I'm here to inaugurate the Boaz business community as a Christian leader for businessmen and women and corporate executives. I encourage all of you to join. I encourage everybody to be part of it and participate in the programs. If we get 10 people becoming millionaires or billionaires, that would be great. But all of us can become millionaires if we follow the principles and the teachings that is in the scripture and apply wisdom as the world can give us. Thank you very much for that. Hallelujah. Is that the other ones supposed to say again? Other ones supposed to say again? Okay, right. That's for you to say. Okay. So thank you. God bless you. And those of you who are not members of Love Sanctuary, we are happy you came. We are blessed that you came. It was not meant for Love Sanctuary members only. So God bless you for coming. Next time you hear about Boaz, it's no more. It's going to be on the Victory Bible Church Love Sanctuary. It's going to be a body itself. I'm the founder, but Mr. T will be the head, and he will make sure that everything goes on. Thank you very much. God bless you.
Thank you, Red. And we can't end this without acknowledging our sponsors once more. Jenny Group Logistics, God bless you. Thank you very much for catching this vision. Stephen and Pablo, God bless you. Please, let's put our hands together for him. TED Projects and Logistics Limited. Anthony Kofi, please. Please, let's acknowledge him. We supported the conversation alongside very early. Visual Passion, Black, where are you? Yeah, please let's acknowledge them. Spurgeon Institute, Reverend Van Dyke, you are the face. We acknowledge you. Thank you very much for coming along. Welcome Microcredits. Welcome, please all of you, stand up and let's see you. This one, my humble appeal. God bless you. They did not only sponsor, the whole team came over with their CEO. We are most grateful. MTN, everywhere you go. I think they are out there. We thank them as well. Sometimes when you hear sponsor MTN, you think you got millions of cities. That's a separate discussion. Then our media partners, Beach FM 105.5, and then Empire FM 102.7. We are grateful. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. At this juncture, we'll be doing what we call networking. So if you look behind you, we've set a table. We have some nice juices, a sobolo. We have a lot of chops as well. Please don't be in a hurry to go at all. Just approach there, you'll be served nicely. And whilst you are eating and drinking, approach somebody, have a business chat, and let the meeting continue until you are fed up and you can go. So we are not closing yet. We'll close with the networking, but as part of the program, we'll take a closing prayer. What a contradiction. So please, let's be on our feet. Oh, you didn't understand what I said. And we invite Pastor Phil, who started the program with us, to also end it with us. Pastor Phil. Okay, Reverend Abbott, would you graciously do that for us? Sorry.
Shall we hold hands as we pray?
Hold somebody's hand as you pray. Heavenly Father, we thank you for every business represented here, every idea represented here, every career represented here, and every ministry represented here. We ask that the 2-day program that we have held, the new knowledge imparted, the experience, will invigorate and transform every single one of us in the name of Jesus. May we have a sense of dissatisfaction stirred up in our hearts that will make us climb to the next level of our lives. And very importantly, may we leave a global and transgenerational impact in our fields of endeavor. Bless the organizers, bless our dear pastor, Asamoah, bless the president and the group of organizers that put this together, and above all, bless everyone who participated and sponsored and supported this venture. We give you praise for your favor on every one of us. In Jesus' mighty name, amen.